What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? Welcome, guys. Um, should I do the introduction? All right, I'm gonna do the introduction. Welcome to another episode of AJAWI TV. I'm AJAWI. This is where we discuss architectural and construction-related topics, right? And for today, we'll be discussing what you need for your building application. So if you can hear me, right? If you can hear me, please leave a thumbs up. If you're just coming in the chat, hit that like button. You know the social contract that we have signed, right? If you're a regular subscriber of the channel, if you're a regular on the channel, you know the social contract that we have on a Sunday, right? So let me know if you're hearing me clearly. Let me know if you're hearing my background music too much, right? It's a communication thing. It's a two-way street. So you let me know, I let you know what's up, and we have a decent conversation on a Sunday evening. I'm sipping water. This is water, right? That's me. As you can tell, over the past couple of months or for the past year, I've accepted a particular lifestyle, which is a healthy lifestyle. So I'm drinking water. So cheers. You gotta adapt a healthy lifestyle so that you can be here to enjoy the investments that you are making, right? Which is investment in your home or whatever investment that you are making. That's what I believe. So I'm just sharing that with you guys, right? Let's see how much people are in the building. So I'm just waiting on more people to come in, guys. And don't forget to hit the like button once you come in, right? So big up to Royce Scott. You're the first in the building today. Big up yourself. There's another person, Stars P. Pleachy. Well, I don't know what that name is. I can't pronounce that name. But big up yourself. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the live. We appreciate you here. So this evening we're discussing what you need to do your building application, right? When you're doing a building submittal, what do you really need? A lot of people don't know this because most of the times they don't necessarily understand the building application process. They really and truly they don't know what they need. They're doing this for the first time, and at the end of the day, it's what did I say? At the end of the day, it's a new process for them, so they're basically winging it, or they're trying to they're trying to do their best to get through the process as best as possible, right? And I think that such a topic would be beneficial to them, right? So yeah, that's why I decided to go through it. And somebody also asked me to look at to look at how to fill out the building application form, right? So I thought that was a good question. And in addition to that, I'm gonna just give you guys some tips that I use for myself. In particular, when I'm doing building applications for architects, I use a particular template. All right. Oh, I think my fan is on. Let me turn off that because you might be hearing that, right? All right. So let's get into this. What do you need when you're doing your building application, right? and what are some of the things that you can look out for that you should avoid, right? You should avoid. First thing that I want you to understand when you're doing or when you're making that decision, right? You need to do a building application when you're doing modification to properties above land, below the land, beside the land, on the land, right? So above, beside, below, you need to do a building application. Whether when you're making major changes, if it is like a temporary structure that you're going to be that's going to be removed, you don't necessarily need to do an application for that, but it's always best to ask questions, like go there and ask why, because sometimes you may think that something that you're constructing does not necessarily need an approval, and you actually do, right? I'll give you an example. So I was doing this bathroom for somebody, right? And because it is internal work, they did not necessarily need to do an approval. But then because they ended up wanting to extend out just a little by probably 2 foot, which I don't think is necessary, but it's space, I guess. They wanted 2 foot added. Even though it's small, you're making a change to the structure, so therefore you do need to get an approval for that. So you have identified that you actually need a building approval. What are the things that you need, right? What are the things that you need? So I actually have the building application form, and I'm gonna pull it up, right? I'm gonna pull it up and show it to you, and show you that there are certain things that you tick off as you go along. Also, what I've done for myself is I've made, over the years, because I've done so many building applications, I've basically come up with a checklist for myself. So if I'm doing a building application for a typical building, right, I'm going to basically just go through that checklist and ensure that everything that is on it is actually there, right? And that will help the process get that much further along. It's very important, right? That little time that you take to actually do the the that checklist, or go through that checklist, can save you a month or two on a building application, right? Because what will happen is the drawings will go there, and if it is that you don't do some of these things, they're gonna send it back to you and ask you to change it. When they ask you to change it, it means that you're gonna now have to reprint all of these drawings and then resubmit them or carry them back down there. And as a client, or as somebody who is doing the actual submittal, it is kind of stressing, right? It's very stressing, especially especially if it's something very minor, because like sometimes these discrepancies that they find out is so minor that you're like, really, you want me to print over an entire set of drawings just for that? And depending on the parish council, it will sound so ridiculous, so ridiculous, but you just have to do it so that you can get through the process, even though you know that, hey, that rough, just for go print over that. You're spending anywhere between what, $15,000 upward just for print out a set of drawings, right? And to know that you're gonna have to print over just because of that, it it's something to cry about. It's something to cry about, right? All right. So first thing that you need to have is your title, right? You need to have a copy of the title, but not just any copy, right? You cannot just photocopy your title and carry it down there. That's not going to work. A lot of people think that it would work, but it's not going to work that way, right? You have to actually you have to actually get a certified copy from the land agency, right? So you can't just photocopy your title and say, oh, this is my title and I'm gonna submit it with your drawing. It doesn't work like that. They're not gonna accept it because it needs to be certified. And it's not like you can get a JP for stamp and sign it. That does not work. It has to be stamped. It has to be certified by the land agency. So whenever you go there, you have to ask for a certified copy of your title to submit. Right. Next thing, you need 4 sets of drawings. Right. And within that drawing, you have different types of drawings within it. Right. So for one set of drawing, you will have the architectural drawings and the engineering drawings, right? The architectural drawings mainly comprise of the design. So floor plans, elevations, sections, roof plan, those types of drawings, right? And then the engineering drawing, on the other hand, has like the structural drawings, right? The mechanical and electrical drawings, right? Plumbing and drainage. So those are very essential to the actual construction. So foundation plan, electrical plan, where the electricals will run in the building, where are the plugs, um, if plugs are in a particular location that they're not supposed to be, where's your breaker, stuff like that, where water enters onto the site. So that's the plumbing and sewage disposal, right? You need to have that set of drawing. Also, within the engineering drawing, you have the structural reinforcement drawings. That includes the foundation drawing, right? Foundation and slab reinforcement. So like those contains like beams, columns, stiffeners, what else? Slab reinforcement, distribution. The slab reinforcement mainly shows like distribution bars, main bars, and the spacing, right? The spacing for those bars, right? And you may you may wonder, why is that so important, especially the structural engineering drawing, the reinforcement drawing. I mean, here's the thing. I can design the most beautiful drawings for you, the most beautiful building for you, right? I can design that. But here's the thing. If that building cannot stand up to natural elements, so like wind, um, earthquake, earth movements, building settlement, then it makes no sense. You won't have a building. Chances are it will collapse, right? And that's the importance of the structural engineering drawing. A lot of times people come to me and they're like, but why do I need an engineer to do that? Why you, as the person who is doing the drawing, the architectural drawing, why don't you just do the engineering drawings? I have seen a lot of technicians take on engineering drawings, and I think it's just dangerous. Right? It's very dangerous. So I tend not to do that. I don't. Unless it's a very small building, and I see where I can possibly save the person some money, right? And it has to be a situation where I know that, hey, this is such a small building, and the area to be designed is so small that it's negligible, right? And I use my experience from working within an engineer's office doing structural drawings to actually do it. And that is one of the reasons why I don't do it on a regular basis. I have an engineer, that's his job, and that's why he's employed, and I just leave it to him to do it. I will pick up certain things at the end of the day once I'm doing the submittal or the drawings themselves, and I'll make certain suggestions to save money for the client, but I don't play engineer, right? I don't play engineer. I'm not going to take up and say, oh, I'm designing this structure to do this and cantilever over there, and it's playing with people's life, right? So remember, when you're doing your submittal, you need both the architectural drawings and the engineering drawings. Very important, right? And once you have those two sets together, then you need to have 4 sets, right? 4 sets of everything. So the engineering drawing and the architectural drawing come together, forms one, and then you print that 4 times, right? 4 times, 4 sets, and then that will go to the parish council along with the other documents, right? Another thing that you'll need is your land surveyor's report, right? Why do you need it? The land surveyor's report is very important because it shows if there's a breach on the property, if there's an existing building on the property, and where are the boundaries, what's the shape of the property. That's also, it's also showing that, right? And the parish council not going to go to the property from the get-go to look at it, so the land surveyor's report will give that information. So imagine every single agency, your drawings is really going to 4 agencies, right? 4 agencies or 3 agencies. The KCAC or whatever parish you're submitting in is going to the health department. It's going to the works agency, right? National Works Agency, and the Ministry of Health, right? And imagine each of those organizations or entities having the need to go to your property to verify what is on your property, right? Imagine that. So, and that is the reason why you have the land surveyor's report. The land surveyor's report will give that information so that all of those agencies don't have to go to your property. Oh, NEPA. Drawings have to go to NEPA as well, right? Drawings have to go to NEPA. So you have to send your drawings with these. So you have to have the land surveyor's report, as stated before, 4 sets of drawings that contains both architectural and engineering drawings. You need a copy of your title, and not just any copy. You cannot take up the title where you have at home and just photocopy it and send it in and submit it. You can't do that. You have to get a certified copy of your title, which means that you have to go to the land agency and ask them to get you a certified copy. Normally, whenever I'm asking for titles at the agency, I will ask for a diagram with it. The diagram actually tells the bearings and distances for your boundary, right? So the property boundary information can be plotted from that title, right? When they get the title will tell them the restrictions that are on that particular property. So that's why it's very important to send it, right? You also need your tax certificate. Pay attention to that one. Certificate, not receipt. A lot of people mix that up, right? When they're doing submittal, they get a tax receipt to say, hey, I paid the taxes. That's not what they want. They really want a tax certificate. And the tax certificate, what that means is that they're gonna give you a document that says tax certificate on it, but it is going to be stamped, right? And it is going to show that, hey, there is no taxes owing on that property, so therefore you can do a submittal. If you have taxes paid on the property, they're not going to accept it. They're not going to accept your billing application, right? They're not going to allow you to build on the property if you owe money to the government on that particular property. So if you're going to do your submittal, you have to pay up all the taxes on the property before you can actually build, right? So it's a form of the government policing you. Right? So far you're here. You need the land title, certified copy. You need 4 sets of drawings, both architectural and engineering. You need the land surveyor's report, and you need the tax certificate, right? If you're building on a slope where the slope is very great, then they're gonna ask you for a topographic survey, right? You should have that from the get-go. If you're building on a steeply sloped land or land with slope, you should have that from the get-go, from the design stage. All of these documents are needed from the design stage though, right? But especially the topo is very important, because that has to be plotted, and then the building designed according to that slope, right? A lot of people, what they do, they go on the hillside and then just cut down the whole hillside to make a flat area, and then put on the building on it. That is the most expensive way to build, right? The most expensive way to build. You go there, you see a hillside, you chop down the hillside, cut it down to a flat, to a level, and then you build. That is the most expensive way to build. But yeah. So if your property is sloping, then you will need the um topographic survey, right? And a lot of times I hear people do this, right? They are buying a piece of property, right? And they're like, oh, the land is flat. They look at the land and they say that it is flat. You can't do that. Don't do that. What you perceive as flat from the naked eye can be a steep land. It is relative, especially when it comes on to design, right? When you see a property that, say it is 100 feet long, right? And for every 1 foot, every, let's say 10 foot, it drops 1 foot, right? If for every 10 feet of property, it is dropping 1 foot. By the time you run that entire 100 foot, you're 10 foot below, right? You're 10 feet below the start level, and that can be a problem, because you now have to compensate for that. You have to design according to that slope, and a lot of people, a lot of times, they try to get that leveled, so they have to dump up that, and that's a lot of material. All right, so don't just look at a property and say, oh, this is flat land. It's always good to draw a tape measure. What I do is I will measure the entire length of the property and get a line level and put on one end, and then ensure that the line is leveled, and then go to the other end, ensure the line is still level, and measure the distance in height, right? And that will tell you how steep is that particular property, right? So I just gave you a hack, right? If you're a technologist watching this, right? Guys, remember to hit the like button. Remember to hit the like button. Alright. So you have all of that, all of those things, right? And you're now ready to do your submittal, right? What I do for myself to alleviate the stress of having, what I say, the need to be going back and forth, what I do is I print out a set, right? I print out a set of the drawing, one set, and then I take it to the council. What this does is that it helps them, or helps me, to avoid the need to go down there multiple times, because I can get it checked beforehand, right? I can get it checked beforehand. So keep that in mind, right? So this is the building application form that I'm gonna be showing you now, right? I'm gonna be showing you this and going through this with you. So let me know if your guys are seeing this properly. Let me just adjust that a little. That should be good enough, right? Should be good enough. So yeah, I print out a set and take it down there. Why do I do this? I do this so that, one, I can get the cost for the submittal, right? So this is what the document look like. Once I carry that set down there, they will inspect it and they will use this data sheet to really determine a fee to do the submittal. So that's why I always tell people, I cannot tell you how much a building application will cost, simply because you need to have the drawings taken down there and they inspect it and then give you a cost for that, right? So I always tell people, you can't ask me to tell you what the building application cost will be, because at the end of the day I just don't know. I can't tell you, because they determine that by actually going through the drawings, right, and inspecting the drawings, and then they give you a cost for that. All right, so keep that in mind. So don't be alarmed if your technologists indicate this to you. All right, they're actually guiding you in the right direction. I say that because somebody actually asked me that. All right, and in order for you to actually do your submittal, you have to pay before the parish council collect your drawings. They're not going to give you no approval for your drawings before you actually pay, right? You have to pay the fee and them collect your drawing, and it stay down there for a while before you get your actual approval. So don't be alarmed at this, right? If your technician asks you or indicate to you that there's a fee to do the actual submittal, right? He doesn't determine the fee, the parish council does. Alright, so on the application form itself, you're gonna have the checklist, right? So this is what I just indicated to you before. Proof of ownership, aka your title, surveyor ID report, right? Payment of the processing fee, that is determined by taking the drawings down there, right? Taking one set of the drawing down there. If you have a retaining wall on your property, you're gonna have to do a BQ for that retaining wall before you can actually get a cost for the submittal, because they're gonna charge you extra for the retaining wall, right? So keep that in mind. If there's retaining wall there, then you need to do a cost estimate for the retaining wall. If you have a pool, you will need to do a cost estimate for the construction of the pool, so that they can charge you for the pool itself. Before you can actually do the submittal. So they're gonna ask you to do a cost estimate for the pool, right? You need 4 sets of drawing, as indicated here. I stated that before. 6 sets if it is a commercial or an institutional place, right? A copy of the updated tax certificate. I indicated that as well before, right? Application fee, this is where they're going to write it out. The building officer is going to look at your drawings and calculate the fees based on the square area of the building or the addition. So if it is that you have an existing building there, then they're going to charge you for a new part. If you're making a change to the existing, then they're gonna give you a percentage of that existing building area, right? So they will write up this, and then you sign. You don't mess with this area here, but you're supposed to sign every sheet of this building application. Also, please note that if you are, well, depending on which parish council you are submitting to, they will ask you to sign every single sheet of drawing as the applicant. They're gonna ask you to sign every sheet of drawing. Sometimes it's kind of a funny thing, in the sense that sometimes a client will be like, Mr. Allen, how long will this take? How long will this drawing take? Right? I need to get the drawings out to start the building, and I'm like, it's a process and it does take time, and it's not just a few drawings, it's actually a good amount of drawings that needs to be done to ensure that you have all the things that you need. And when I'm finished and it's time for me to do the actual submittal, and I'm like, okay, you're gonna have to sign all of these sheets. And I take it to them and they're like, what? So much sheets? Like, in my mind, I'm like, yes, man. No, you see the little work we are doing. So it's not that easy. It's not just to, draw and then submit. It actually takes a lot of work. And sometimes they have to sign and sign and sign, and sometimes it's hilarious to me, right? It's just a little fun for me to see them sign. um, but yeah, as you go through the application form, it is important to have a data sheet for your drawings. I put my data sheet on the front of my drawings, right, for residential buildings. So, so say I'm doing a regular residential building, then I'll say, planning and building permit. You probably could be doing a renovation or renewal. So you'll tick any one of these that apply to the actual submittal, the actual approval that you want. Change of use is where, like, you want to like, you have a building, and the you're using it for one purpose that is contrary to what it was allocated for. So, like, most of the times what happens in that situation is you're in a residential area and you're using the property for, say, a golden age home, right, which is kind of institutional. I think it's residential, but it's not the regular residential. So you want to retain that use. So you'd apply for a change of use, right? You have to also apply for demolition, so you know that already. Demolition, um, retention of use, change of use, all of those you have to make application for. The applicant's detail, that's your detail as the person that's doing the submittal. You're as the property owner, right? And you have to have your tax your TRN. Yeah, you have to have your TRN. You have to have like an ID, to submit your documents as well. And you just fill out these. And again, you sign every single sheet of this application, right? Professional information. As you can see, you have architects, engineer, building practitioners, urban planners. So under building practitioners, you have architectural technologists, you have contractors, if the contractor is actually the one doing the submittal. You have draftsmen, or even you as the person, as the client. Suppose you are able to do your drawing yourself, then you're a building practitioner, right? So the professional's information goes here, right? And if it's more than one of them, and you as the client sign, so you sign on every page, right? Civic address, sometimes you'll need to get this, right? And that's you do that on the same day when you're there, right? You have to, where is it? I think you have to describe the property. I don't know if I got through that as yet. Hold on, let me check. Okay, I don't go through that as yet. Alright, so now it's for the property registration, right? Volume and folio, valuation number, you can find that on IMAP, right? Name of owner, surveyor's report, ID, right? So that is on the surveyor's report information. Certificate of tax payment, a number will be on the tax certificate, so you just put it there, right? Are there any existing structure? You have to state whether there's an existing structure, right? Yeah, see it here. Description of location. So you're gonna have to describe what is around the property. So say you have a residential property, but to the left there's a garage. You're supposed to actually state, let's see, north, south, east, west, right? You're gonna have to say, okay, to the east of the property there is a garage, a commercial garage. To the north of the property, maybe it's residential, or maybe there's a gully. Then you can say there's a gully to the north. To the west is your road, so you say road, and you probably name the road. To the west there's probably a residential property, so you just state residential property. All right. The type of development. Um, it's a residential development, but normally for here, as a, let us say, single family, or you're just doing it for your home, residential home, right? You take this, but like you don't mess with the other ones, right? Nature of the development. Um, it's an extension, it's a structural repair, it's a retention. It You just take the one that is appropriate for your particular property. All right. The floor area. Now this is very tricky. Here's the thing: you can actually save money or give away money at this point, right? On this, what I do is I don't allow them to actually calculate it, right? I don't allow them to calculate it, because if they calculate it and it's way high, them not gonna double check, you know. Them just like gonna charge you. So what I do is, on my drawings, on the cover sheet, I state the size of the building, the size of the property, the size of the addition, the size of the ground floor addition, the existing floor area. All of that information I put on the cover sheet. So when the person take up the drawing, they look on it, they see that information, they just enter that information here, right? They enter that information here, and they can then calculate the cost of the building application. Most times people don't do that, and then the building officer would have to calculate it, and when a couple of people are waiting on him, and if him go calculate it himself, he might get a larger number than what you're expecting to submit, and that will cause you to pay more money, right? You have to state the number of floors, combined area, habitable rooms, um, number of restroom, you know that already, number of other rooms. Amenities, normally, that is according to the building code, right? That's according to the building code. So you just find out what's the requirement as it relates to the building code, what is required and what is proposed or provided. You state that, right? You state that to ensure that they know. Access and egress, if it is that you're doing a new development, then that is important. If if it is an existing property already in a development, then you don't need to really mess with this area, right? Sewage treatment, normally you want a tertiary system on a property. They are getting rid of pits, right? They're getting rid of pits. So you as a new development, they're not gonna wanna accept a pit, right? So they're kind of phasing that out right now. So don't ask your technologist, or you as a technologist should not be proposing just a pit. You have to propose a tertiary system, right? So septic tank, reed bed, and then it goes to the pit as the last point of disposal, right? So yeah, you're gonna tick those, right? If it's a public sewer, then you don't need these. You probably just need a soakaway on the property to manage the storm water, right? Environmental issues, you'd have to just determine whether you are in breach of any of these, right? And material type, they want to know what type of material will be used on the property. Depending on the material that you're using, you will be required to provide supporting information. So sometimes people ask, why don't we use like innovative materials? The reason is that because the council or the guys at the council are not accustomed to these materials, then you're gonna have to provide a lot of information on that particular material, right? So like say you see a particular construction type going on overseas and you want to adapt that, you have to actually provide calculations, supporting document, all of that, just to use that material. So it's very important that you keep that in mind when you're doing your building application, right? Covenant. Would the covenant be breached on the property if you're doing your construction of for would your proposal cause a covenant to be breached? You don't want to be breaching the covenant on your property, right? Whether it be that there is not supposed to be a multifamily structure on the property, aka rental, or you're just simply building too close to the boundary, right? I never say all this part. Additional information you wish to provide, because you're trying to stick within the guidelines, right? And again, you sign all the documents, all the pages you need to sign, right? Sign all of them, and then you submit this document, along with the copies of the drawings, right? Copies of the drawings, yeah, copies of the drawings. So that's pretty much what you will need. That's pretty much what you will need for that. So as somebody who is doing your submittal for the very first time, I would say to you, run a check on your drawings once you have them prepared, right? Once you have all of these put together, then you take it to the council, all of them together. Print one set on probably a smaller sheet, that's what I do, and then I take it down there to have them vetted, and then I do the larger prints. Remember that you want to avoid as much as possible any reason for your drawing to be delayed, right? Because once there's a delay, then the process takes a little bit longer, or it have to start over. You have to print over, you have to draw over, which is never a good thing, because time is money at the end of the day. All right. So that's pretty much it for that. I just wanted to ensure that I made sure that you guys know this, right? So you know, you can move through the process a little bit faster. A lot of people don't have an appreciation of this, and the council is there to really protect you at the end of the day. And if you don't provide these information, then you cannot get that, right? um for example, if you don't have the necessary sewage disposal, the health department will turn back a drawing, which means that the parish council will have to turn back a drawing as well. You have to have proper sewage disposal so that you as the homeowner is healthy. And what will happen is, say for example, you continuously providing pit or suggesting pits, right? We all know that um, with the pit, it's dug at a certain depth and it goes down to the water table, right? And the issue that they're having is that the water table is being contaminated, right? So the health department is kind of phasing out that. So you as the person who is doing the submittal, if you go and only provide a pit for that particular property, then the chances of you getting an approval is slim to none, right? It's very slim. So you have to take that into account with your drawings, right? All right. Um, what else? What else should you possibly know? You pretty much have all the information as it relates to the submittal. Um, as it relates to my checklist is long, right? My checklist is long. So what I do for my checklist is I have a template for each set of drawings. So like for my floor plans, right? For my floor plans look a particular way. They read a particular way. The annotations on my drawings look a particular way, right? I wonder if I can pull up a drawing and show you. Let me see if I can pull up a drawing for you, just to make sure that you understand what I'm saying. I'm trying to pull up a drawing for you guys. Hmm. I'm trying to get one, but I don't want to really. You know what? Another time I'll do that because I don't want to show a drawing that I'm not supposed to show. Anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Make sure that once you do your prints and carry them to the council and you pay for the application, please ensure that you keep the receipt, keep it safe, right? So put it up, don't lose it, because once you're actually going to collect the approval at the approved drawings, then you have to collect back that. You have to bring back that receipt, right? Someone said on the channel that Don Senior, what's up? Big up yourself. Big up yourself. Somebody said that once you submit the 4 sets of drawing, then you'll get back 3. No, that's not the case. You'll only get back 1 set, right? You'll only get back 1 set. That's how it goes. Don't ask me why. That's just how the situation is, right? So I'm gonna go through the channel now. So we're done with that aspect. We're gonna go to the channel and answer a few questions before I go, right? Before I go, right? Somebody asked, that's Javon Smith, right? Javon Smith. So I posted about the the with the construction calculator. I posted about that last week, right? And the person was asking, based on the 12 million price point that you got in the video, how much how much is the estimated percent, how much estimated percent lower would it be if you're building on the second floor? I guess they're asking, if you're going up, there's a second floor, how much cheaper will it be? That is the reason why it's a guide, right? It's a guide. So therefore, once you're doing that, then you need to have a quantity survey or quantify the material and labor so that you can get the exact value, right? But at least you have a ballpark figure as to what the cost should be. Let's see. I'm just going through and making sure that I you know select the right ones or the right questions. Alright, good advice, but it depends on the person. I buy my material and it was not frustrating. I had a very good rapport with my hardware. This person is speaking about a video that I stated that homeowners shouldn't really be the one to buy materials. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. If you have a good relationship with your hardware, you can't buy your material. What I'm saying is, when you as the homeowner establish a contract with a builder, right? You establish a contract as to how much the construction will cost. You don't need to be running around to buy material at that point, because there's a contract in place. Whether the project is cheaper will not affect the total value of the contract. They have to build within that value. So therefore, you don't need to be running around to buy material to try and save money. You're actually spending more money driving around, because at the end of the day, if you had agreed to spend $14 million to build the house, if you as the homeowner drive around and found material cheaper, right? Cheaper, you only put in more money in the contractor's pocket at the end of the day, because you still have to pay him the $14 million, right? So if your contractor bidded, if your bill of quantities come to $40 million and your contractor quoted and gave you a estimate for $20 million, right? And you have it in your head saying that, okay, I'm gonna drive around and get materials so that the cost may go down below the $20 million, right? That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Whether you drive around or the contractor drive around, you still have to pay him $20 million, right? If you get cheaper materials, you're still gonna need to pay him the $20 million. So might as well you just allow the man to do the work, right? You inspect. You may want to have an approval process as it relates to the actual material and the quality of the material that will be used, right? So in that aspect, I do understand that you may want to verify or look at the material, right? So from that perspective of quality control, then you may want to go ahead and look or find out where he's getting the material, right? How long does it take to build a 3-bedroom house in Jamaica, providing you have a certified contractor? That's a very um that's a subjective question. One contractor can say 6 months, another might say 3 years. I can't really answer that question. I don't know how to answer that question. Peter Gay Campbell asks, what does the application form look like and how to fill it out? That's what I was doing a while ago. That's one of the reasons why I decided to show this today, because that person requested that information, right? Okay, so this person, same Don Senior. This is your statement on the channel. I know this was streamed prior. It's new for me though, but the way I love the video, I am currently interested in buying a property. The reason why I'm trying to cut back on that type of video is because of the response from everybody else, right? It's kind of I want to do videos that has longevity, so when people are searching for them, it's relevant. So doing property searches based on you guys' response, not a lot of likes on them. So I have to switch it up a little so that I give information that is relevant. So when I do a property search or a video on a Sunday only on properties, then after that probably a week it becomes useless basically, because it's not going to be valuable to anybody else because it's done gone already. Right, those properties are gone. Can $20 million build a 3-bedroom house? Go to our construction calculator on our website and make your budget. That's what the construction calculator is for. I did a video last week. I'll post it I'll mention it in the description of this video. The construction calculator is a guide for you to determine if that $20 million, what can that $20 million build, and the quality of the build. So you go to the construction calculator and you say, okay, maybe you want 3-bedroom. You punch in the size of the possible 3-bedrooms, and maybe you want a 14 by 14 master bedroom. You want a master closet. You want a what else did I want? You want a decent size kitchen. You state what size kitchen that is. Living room, dining room, garage. How many car garage you want? You state that within the calculator, and then the calculator will tell you what your estimated budget should be, and then you're guided from there, right? So go and check that out, right? Can I shell up and one? Can I shell up wow, that one. Marthelin, wow. I delete the message. Anyways, yeah, so go to the Matthew, your message was too long, so the Streamlabs remove it. So try to cut your message down, right? In a foreign country, it would take less than a year to build a house, probably 4 to 6 months maximum. Yeah, I understand that, but you are asking how long it would take to build a 3-bedroom house or whatever bedroom house. Every contractor is going to give you their time. What does that 3-bedroom house look like? I can't tell you. What is the property like? Will you need to be doing retaining walls? Will you need to be cutting? What is the soil type like? Is it stones that you're going to build on? Will you need to do some amount of site preparation? It's impossible for me to tell you. I don't know what the size, what design looks like, right? So I can't answer that question. And worse, I'm not the one doing the construction, so therefore I can't give you an answer and you expect to go to somebody else and say, oh, this man said it's supposed to take this time. It's impractical. You can't really determine that. You understand? So just ask your builder how long he will take and provide him with your bill of quantities and let him quantify and give you a cost estimate, and then you compare it with other people. That's what you need to be doing, right? Anyways, it's coming up on the time. I'm just taking a few more questions and then move forward, right? Gigi, big up yourself, big up yourself. all along, she come in late, right? The logical more said that she has been binge watching the episodes. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, right? I appreciate that. Can I build a 1800 square feet house with 6 million? Only bedroom and bathroom should be completed. Go use our construction calculator. It will tell you if you can do it with that. Right? Determine what size bedroom you want, what size bathroom you want, what size kitchen, dining, living space, and it would tell you what your budget should be looking like. 1800 square feet sounds a little bit small for $6 million though. Can tell you that much. Would the title tell you if you are allowed to build a third floor on, or would parish council be the one to determine that? Your title will tell you. Your title will tell you. Your title will tell you the restrictions as it relates to the particular area, right? So if you're not allowed to build up to 3 floors in that particular area, then the title will tell you that, hey, no construction above X height is allowed. So yeah, the title will tell you that. All right. Yes, I'm about to leave as well, Don Senior. Oh, Gigi. I don't want you to disclose that in the chat. Right? So I would like if you would delete that message. Don't disclose when you're coming back to Jamaica. Just come back to Jamaica, guys, and then let people know that, hey, I'm here. Right? So keep your travel information private, please. Don't advertise it, right? Alright, guys, it's been a interesting hour with you guys. I hope the information that I passed on is useful to you guys, or somebody who is actually going to do their building application. Remember to hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you can be notified whenever I make videos just like this one. Look out for the Build with AJAWI series. I'm working on that in the background. It takes a little time before I can actually bring that to you guys. An update on that, we actually just finished speaking with the contractor, right? Spoke with the contractor, not the contractor, the quantity surveyor. We have done the bill of quantities. We have followed up with the parish council, right? That's what I normally do. Follow up with the parish council, and the the drawings that we have submitted have been approved, right? Drawings approved. So that's what, 2 months. That's really good. That's a good timeline for an approval, right? So we've submitted 2 months ago, and we finally got the approval, right? So now we're going to be meeting with the client to pin down a process moving forward to actually select the contractors. That is given that they are okay with the costing of the bill of quantities. When we were doing the bill of quantities for that project, we realized that the cost was coming in a little bit high based on the type of roof that we had selected, which was a standing seam roof. The quantity surveyor was saying, hey, the standing seam roof is the most expensive roof right now. Based on the industry and what is happening in the industry, it is the most expensive roof. So we had to go back to the drawing board to change that to a different type of roof, to now make a suggestion to the client to really reconsider standing seam roof, right? So that's what we're doing for that. And we're going to meet with the client now, have a discussion around that to show them the cost difference with the bill of quantities, and then move into actually selecting a few contractors. What I must let people know is this. Remember, when the quantity surveyor does your bill of quantities, he is doing it and telling you what the cost of the construction should be, the value of it, so you can always negotiate with your builder, right, or your contractor. So they will submit, then you don't want somebody who's going to submit higher than your bill of quantities, right? Or you don't want somebody who is bidding too much lower than your bill of quantities, right? You want a balance. So that's what we are doing. So now that we have the approval and we're going into the meeting, then I'll update you according to that. And as soon as we start construction, I will take you through that process episode by episode. Alright? So that's pretty much an update. Right? So thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for sharing. Stay tuned for the other episodes. Make sure that you share, and I'll see you next time. Alright, I'll see you next time.